Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This afternoon's hearing is a follow-up to our hearing 2 weeks ago, and today our focus will be on the legal basis underlying VA's purchase of non-VA health care and the practice of VA in obtaining this care. At the end of the day, we can all agree we want to see our veterans receive the health care they need at precisely the moment they need it. But I want to make clear that neither I nor my colleagues view this laudable intent as a blanket rationale for not following laws, regulations, or proper procedure. Federal and VA acquisition regulations exist for a reason. They exist to ensure that there's proper competition when appropriate and that the best practice and price is obtained when the government purchases goods and services. For the VA, these laws protect veterans, save taxpayer dollars, and ensure our veterans receive the highest possible quality of care. VA states in its testimony that it's had a 30-year practice of using individual authorizations without applying federal acquisition processes and procedures. At the same time, it seems that the VA has taken the position that individual authorizations are indeed contracts and should be viewed as such, even when acknowledging that VA officials appear to have acted in a manner inconsistent with procurement law. Now VA is arguing that it needs new statutory authority, quote, to resolve what has emerged as serious legal questions to its purchased care authorities. This new authority would explicitly exempt VA from procurement regulations and requirements and allow the VA to continue with the same practices that it has been following for the past 30 years. I personally am not convinced that this is the best solution given VA's significant lack of oversight in this area. In fact, I would argue that the problem is not that the legal questions have arisen over VA's purchase care program, but that for too long, VA has operated a program where the legal basis has been challenged, and yet VA has never changed course or modified its procedures. VA's authority to purchase care without having a contract in place is predicated on individual authorizations being used, quote, when demand is only for infrequent use, period, close quote. I'd be interested in finding out how much of the $7 billion expenditure for non-VA care in FY 2014 has been obligated under this authority as compared to situations where contracts are in place. As we examine the current legal authority for VA's purchase care program and whether this authority must be modified, we must first get to the bottom of how this program has been operated over the last number of years. It's absolutely critical that we understand how VA's legal interpretations changed and were communicated and enforced. It's hard to expect accountability when there are no clear signs pointing out the way. The testimony of Mr. Fry and the various legal arguments made by the VA in litigation makes it seem unlikely that over the last number of years, clear policies and procedures were in place. GAO's testimony points out, quote, significant weaknesses in VA monitoring and oversight of its non-VA medical care program. Perhaps it is now time to stop applying quick Band-Aids and resolve right now to fix what is wrong. It took years for VA to get into this problem, and it will take time to fix it. But the first step in addressing the problem is to acknowledge these problems and quickly and forthrightly come up with a concrete plan to fix them. Finally, I'd like to thank Mr. Labonte for appearing before us today to relate his story, which is absolutely horrendous. Mr. Labonte reminds us that the bottom line is the quality of care for our veterans. This quality can certainly be impacted by lack of accountability and process when it comes to making sure that all relevant laws, regulations, and policies are followed. And with that, Mr. Chair, I yield back the balance of my time.